Today's episode of This Week in MMO is brought to you by World of Tanks. If you guys have not checked out World of Tanks, I don't know what you were waiting for. It's completely free to play, completely not paid to win. Get your ass on over to gboffer.com/tanks. Seriously? Seriously. We already get new music. We already get new music. This is music. This music's like 9 years old.
I don't know. It'd be weird the show starting with something else though. At this point,
that's why I don't like changing the graphics, the music, like all that stuff. People get so attached to it. I'm like, we've had this for so long. I'm like, we got to change this at some point, right?
People do not like change ever,
the internet
no matter
will
what.
Explode. I know. What's up, everybody? This week in MMO, episode 201. It's September 4th, 2014. It's Thursday. Doing it live. Gamebreaker TV. We're going to talk a lot about pack stuff today. WildStar, ESO, ArcheAge, Destiny, jam-packed show. Got lots to talk about. Joining me, as always, the noob fridge himself. Missing the kickoff of this.
Missing the kickoff to football. Man, I should have had an earbud in one ear where I was listening to the game and one ear like you're sitting in church, acting like you're listening to the preacher, and every time you guys say something, I'm just like,
sure.
Touchdown.
Who do you want to watch tonight?
Oh, who is Seattle and somebody? I forgot. I don't even remember who they're playing now.
No, it's like a catastrophe. It's like, I'm missing football. I don't know who's playing. It's worse than me.
Seattle and somebody. Seattle's going to stop whoever it is. So
I think the Rangers and the Yankees are playing tonight. That's what I think.
Yeah, that's legit. Super legit.
Justin Kennedy, J.K. Kennedy, what's happening?
Hey, not too much. Just ready to get on with this, and I'm not really watching football tonight.
Everybody's in a rush. What is everybody's in a rush? I'm ready to get on with this. I got football. I'm ready to get on with this. I got the Republic coming up after this. What? Everybody's ready to get out of here. We just started the show. Everybody's ready to leave. It's like, Cannon, hurry up. Let's go.
Man, I got a fantasy league kicker playing tonight. Come on, this is important. He's going to score like 6 points. You leave it alone.
I've never done that stuff, and they got fantasy leagues for esports now and everything. I keep seeing that all over Twitter.
I won my League of Legends fantasy league this year.
Did you play against your wife?
Yeah. Oh yeah. C9. I took a bunch of Cloud9 dudes and just won. I was like 8-2 or something like that, and it was GG.
How many people did you play against?
I think we had 8 or 9. I think we had 8 in our league.
Okay, so you actually had people.
Yeah, it wasn't like 4 dudes and I beat 4 dudes. It was like 8 pretty hardcore League of Legends guys that we've all been friends, people from Argentina and everywhere. And I'm the champion, and they can't touch this.
Is it terrible that I have absolutely no idea how fantasy anything works? Fantasy football, like fantasy. I've
never done them, so I don't.
I have never done one. And I have no idea how they work. So, Troy, you're going to have to sit down with me one day because I'll just...
I don't do fantasy baseball because baseball, boo. But football and apparently League of Legends. Apparently I'm really good at fantasy League of Legends.
He's really good
So there you go. I got an invite like 10 minutes before the league started, and I was like, oh, I better pull up a list of players.
Cash game?
Championship.
Cash game?
No, it wasn't a cash game. It was for us. It's the money would not mean nearly as much as being able to talk shit to everybody else for an entire year now, or 6 months, or whenever the next.
Get the cash game. Cash game. A little cash on the line. Put a little cash on the line. Make the whole thing exciting. You're sweating bullets. Just even a little bit of cash.
Maybe I should now that I realize I'm as good as I am. I didn't realize I was that awesome at League of Legends fantasy. But now maybe I should make a little something on the side with it. You know what I'm saying? I'm also a 2-time defending fantasy football league champion.
Troy's going to become an esports bookie. He's going to have like 8 phones in his house. Should be calling him up. Troy! So
I can't talk right now, man. I got
money
on the line.
Can you bet in Vegas on esports yet?
I would be surprised if you can't. I haven't
seen
officially, but if you can, that would be amazing. I would be shocked.
Korea has betting sites.
I'm curious, man. I wonder if you can go to Vegas and bet on esports. That'd be pretty crazy. You can bet on everything else.
There's no way there's not some sort of betting, especially with the big championship coming up and all that. There's no way there's not.
Chatter
some
wants to
kind
know
of
why we're talking about
betting
football.
line
We
on
got nothing else to talk about. We're just talking about football.
It's just we have the horse park up here. I should talk to them about just setting up the game and just opening up the betting there.
There you go.
Esports at the horse park.
All right, chat room's getting a little hot under the collar. Why you gotta talk about football?
This
Talk
show
about
is supposed to be
MMOs.
about the video games.
Video games, MMOs only. Bah, bah. All right, so PAX was this past weekend. None of us went, so none of us are
Sadly.
sick, as you can tell. Well,
Yeah.
we would have a show.
Yeah, at least that's the good
we
point.
would we wouldn't have a show because at least two of the three of us would have been out sick, and even if the other one didn't go to PAX, you would have gotten sick anyway. From the smell.
Con flu.
Actually, what was really funny, I saw Phony Mike B tweeted from PAX, and he was like, "Someone literally smells like poop." That was his tweet. Someone literally smells like poop.
They're everywhere. Humanity in mass is not a pleasant experience. It doesn't matter which con you go to. The nicest, cleanest developer cons,
No,
people stink.
I don't
The
know.
dirtiest
No,
cosplay cons, people stink.
I don't know, man. I've been to a lot of cons, and like nothing really has set the bar that high as far as terrible smelling con than PAX. PAX is at the top of my list for worst smelling conferences. It is just
Maybe I shouldn't be going to PAX anytime, man. Maybe I should just avoid it.
Get like
No wonder
what's that
people
stuff
get
they wake
sick
you
at
up, they
that
put under
thing.
your nose and they wake you up when you're passed out. Make sure you bring some of that with you. Or just bring Vicks and just like keep Vicks like on your mustache and just walk around like
just
that's constant.
Buy some Icy Hot.
Yes, that's what
Icy
you're gonna
Hot
want to do
smells
at PAX. So when you're with Phony and it smells like poop, you'd be like, I don't know, man, it just smells minty fresh. All right. Well, let's start this. Well, I don't know. I mean, I think we all tried to follow PAX as much as we possibly could from home, but I don't know. What was Troy? I'll start with you. What was your favorite? Hopefully, it's not something that we want to talk about in the show, or maybe it will be.
I don't.
Maybe. But what was your favorite announcement?
I don't think it's anything we're
I don't even care if it's
planning on
not. It could be non-MMO. Like, it could be anything. What was like your biggest hype moment for PAX?
Well, it just so happens that it is MMO. There wasn't a ton of MMO news in PAX, but for me, I got to watch. There were several people who played the Rift Nightmare Tide demo, and they got to record themselves sort of playing that. So I sat around for a few hours on like Sunday, I think, and just watched people playing the demo for Nightmare Tide. And I'm gonna have to say the zones looked amazing. At least the parts we saw, some of the things they were kind of showing off were really cool.
What?
And the new ice zone is, oh my god, it's phenomenal looking. Would you ask me something?
Boss mobs? Yeah, I'm just wondering what really got you. What really grabbed you? What looks so good about it?
Well, of course the new sort of expansion is sort of broken up into like 3 zones in this continent, but they're not 3 tiny zones like we're kind of used to. They're 3 humongous zones, so it's probably almost as big as vanilla Telara map was. Wow. So the first thing that they showed that I saw was they went around the ocean zone, and it's not like you're on a beach jumping into the ocean. It's more like you're in the ocean, but the world is created through the dreams of some being, and his dreams are being disturbed with the nightmare. So the world's kind of going crazy. So you'll be swimming through the ocean. All of a sudden, there'll just be a wall where the ocean just drops off, and you fall out onto like the dry seabed, and you fight a bunch of things there. And then if you want to get back in the ocean, you just run across this dry zone, and you jump back into the wall of ocean, and just start swimming around on your shark mount again.
That sounds crazy.
It is crazy, and it looked pretty cool. It was a different take on it, and still, they've said only 10% of the content's going to force you to be underwater. But if you've got little things like that are really cool and really different, I'm all about jumping into some water and crazy stuff like that, because it was weird. And the zones, like the dry seabed, there was a lot of detail in it. It wasn't like some of the Storm Legion zones. They're different from each other, but they're sort of generic. There's not a lot of detail out there in them. There's just sort of some mountains, and the grass is purple in this zone, and then the grass is green in the next zone. Things like that. There was big, huge coral formations and like large rock bridges, and just all sorts of stuff. It looks like they're putting a ton of detail in it, and that's exciting for somebody who likes Rift especially. I mean, I'm really looking forward to this, and everything I saw, man, just got me that much more pumped for it.
I mean, I think a lot of people watching this show probably play Rift. And watching chat room, they're just like, Rift is so underrated. Great game.
Rift is the most underrated MMO on the market.
It is. I don't know why more people don't play this game. It's such a great MMO, and it's free to play. I mean, not that, like, you know, it's not dead. There's still a lot of people who are playing it. So, but I don't know. Why don't why don't you think more people aren't, like, I would think it should be massive. There's so much in that game.
I think part of the problem for people is that it was so much like WoW to begin for people, and they just started playing it, and it's like, well, it's the same kind of experience, so I'm going back to WoW. And initially, I think it was.
The Soul system was nothing like anything out there.
Well,
it was so different.
The Soul system was probably the most unique thing. What was really cool about it, but I think people just the rest of the gameplay, like, they almost ignore those systems in general. It seems like some of their thinking stuff are like, well, the rest of the gameplay, I'm just doing what I do in WoW. I'm going to go back there, and I think some people just didn't give it the chance either. In the long run, is they didn't want to go through all of that stuff again, and they've already done through WoW. And it's like, even though it's just really different, I can't really explain it other than that. Like, it's fun as a game in itself, and it's fun to get with a group of friends and go around and do even just rifting and stuff, just going and killing the rifts and things. I mean, so the game had a lot to offer and does have a lot to offer.
At the time Rift launched, it was everything that I had wished Cataclysm was. I quit playing WoW after like 6, 7, 8 years, whatever, straight, to play Rift because it was everything that I was hoping WoW would become Cataclysm, and WoW just kept getting more and more simplified, more and more streamlined, and you could customize less and less, especially like you talk about the Soul system. That's one of the biggest draws of the game, apart from maybe, for me initially, it was the art of the game, the way it looked. It wasn't cartoony. It was a little grittier. You know, they're not going for uber realism, but it's a little grittier, a little more realistic, kind of ditching the cartoony, letting you know, customize your freaking build to your heart's content. I mean, how many more abilities and trees, and now you're getting all these, you know, these passive bonuses come Nightmare Tide to go along with that, on top of all that you can just swap out on the fly. You can swap out these passives, you know, between fights if you want to in the skill tree. So, I mean, that kind of stuff, it's so much more than WoW is when it comes to that. But I think, like Justin said, I think a lot of people got the initial impression that it's just another WoW clone, but it's not. It's everything that I think a lot of people you hear complain about World of Warcraft. Rift is a lot of things that you wish World of Warcraft was, and I wish more people would go in and give it a real shot at that, because it does a lot of things right and a lot of things well, and it fixes a lot of things that you always heard people complaining about World of Warcraft.
And I know there were many people who thought just like you, Troy. They're like, this is new, this is fresh, this is something I'm actually liking, and it's similar enough. Or like, they quit WoW and jumped over to it.
Similar enough that it's familiar and it's comfortable to make the switch.
But what ended up happening, I know for a lot of them, just talking with them over the time, they're like, I liked Rift. They're like, I preferred Rift, and I wanted to play it, but my guild did not move over.
That's the big thing, isn't it?
And they're like, I was just playing too much solo. My people that I played with all the time in WoW, not all of them moved over, so everyone just slowly trickled. And the ones who did move over just slowly trickled back in, where the majority of them were still playing.
Yeah, it's I'm not saying it's a bummer, but I would absolutely recommend anyone out there, if you guys have not checked it out, to check it out, because it's worth having on your desktop. It's free. It's a free-to-play game. The cash shop is awesome. There's a cash shop. It's totally not pay to win. I mean, I think Trion's got one of the best reputations out there for how they've set up their free-to-play model. I don't know. I think the days of MMO players like only sticking with one title, days are over. Just play a couple of them. You get bored of them, jump around. You know, you ain't got any friends in Rift? I go solo and Rift a little bit. Go play something else. Do what you got to do. Join the Game Breaker Nation. You find some more people to play with. Things like that. I don't know.
And you see that a lot in free-to-play nowadays. It's like, you know, something new comes out for a game and everybody comes and jumps on it for a little while. But then something new happens over here and the big majority jumps over here for a little while. But just as soon as something else exciting happens back over here, they're right back over here. So to me, it feels like you know, a big portion of the community is doing a lot of jumping, and I play that way too, so I can't complain. I jump around from game to game depending on kind of what's new and what's hot and what's happening.
It's kind of weird how I feel like that's shunned upon in the MMO community. I feel like the whole like hopping between MMOs and trying new ones is sort of like, it's looked at as kind of like a negative thing, and I can never understand that because I've been doing that for years.
I think it's the idea that a lot of maybe, I don't know, I would say older MMO players, but I guess we fit in that category anyways. But some people, they want that feeling of, oh, well, you're not helping the community. You're not part of our community if you just hop around and stuff. We want these
fucking
people
break.
here to build
I'm
it.
a part of the community of life as well, and I got a job, and I got all these other things. I want to go and like have some goddamn fun and play a video game. I'm not going to dedicate my life to this thing.
Nobody got time for life. There's video games to be played. What you talking about?
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Just put your computer next to your door, order pizza every day. Just keep playing.
All right. So Rift. What about you, Justin? What was what got you all hot and bothered?
Like what I actually enjoyed and spent almost all my time packs like watching when I could was the game Gigantic by Motiga.
Oh yeah, it looks like a really good one.
Yeah, I mean the game. I didn't get to see too much of the gameplay because they didn't show that other than people putting up like their gameplay videos they had over the time while they were playing. But they had panels every single night of PAX through Friday night, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday night. Different panels showing off their game, talking about it, and design ideas, the art behind it, and it's really fresh in the feeling of the game, and it brings in like that third-person shooter MOBA mix, like mixing those two things in a PvP game. And I'm a PvP player, and it's really what I want to see and play and stuff. And the devs themselves are just being very talkative to the community during PAX. It was just awesome.
How would you describe this game?
It's an action team PvP game. Team action PvP.
I know, it's kind of hard to really understand what they're doing here. I love the art style. I think the art style is going to do really well with a lot of people.
They need to come up with an official phrase for what the heck this is.
So the art is amazing. It's like Pixar art. It's kind of the way people are describing it. It's like it gives them that feeling like Pixar. And the art's just really good for it. The visuals are really awesome when you're watching it and things. And so, but you get with a team. You want to kill the enemy's guardian and kill the enemy players. I mean, it's kind of like a MOBA, but not. There's no items.
It's kind of like a MOBA, but it's not.
I was gonna say when you describe it like that, to me, of course, as a MOBA player, that sounds MOBA. What is it that separates this from what we think of as a MOBA?
Well, I think the biggest issue is when you hear MOBA nowadays, everyone's immediate mind goes Dota 2, League of Legends, top-down view, build up money, get items, go in these lanes, and push them to the end and fight that way. When it doesn't actually work that way at all. Like there's capture points around the whole map that people are doing, and they're like spawning creatures and capturing these points apparently. And the idea is to get your guardian to kill the other guardian along with you killing it. It's the general idea is obviously in the end for you to take down the guardian, but how you do it is sort of like a constant struggle of capture and defend. I
mean, that's the funny thing. Like, I'm going to bring this back. I was just playing the video, and this particular video, I mean, this last couple seconds, I'm going to rewind it so you don't miss it. There's like 2 to 3 seconds of what the gameplay footage looks like. And it's really exciting. That's why I think they teased it so much. But like, check that out, right? What? Like, that's all they showed. Did you get to see anything else at PAX? Did they show any more than that as far as gameplay goes?
Oh, I mean, they showed off several gameplay videos. I mean, each year you don't build items in a thing. You do different characters just like you do in a MOBA because it has that feature too that makes people feel like and reminisce and think MOBA-like. You have several abilities. The big difference though is Gigantic sports verticality, unlike most other MOBAs, and that's where it kind of gets into that Team Fortress 2 feeling of it.
You have the third person.
Verticality, gigantic verticality is what it's being coined as. You have a Z-axis. Unlike even in Smite and League of Legends and Heroes of the Storm and Dota 2, you don't have an actual Z-axis where you aim up and down. So that you have like that third-person shooter feeling where you can actually aim into the air, jump up into the air, get on top of higher platforms and stuff like that as part of the game as well that you don't get in a typical MOBA out there right now.
Definitely one to keep an eye on. Gigantic. Kind of came out of nowhere. Didn't really.
It was like last month.
About a month or two ago, I felt about a month or two ago, they had like a big event, I think up in the San Fran area, and invited some people out and just opened it up, and that's when we first heard about it, and it was like, what is this? Okay, this looks interesting.
They have a lot of, if you look at their dev team, they have a lot of ArenaNet devs that used to be working with ArenaNet on Guild Wars and Guild Wars 2, I think.
That's a good
I
sign.
went over to them.
So there's definitely room in the MOBA genre to expand what a MOBA is. I would like to see more games do that, and not fall into the League of Legends clone and do something.
Well, that's like the new hotness, right? The new hotness is sort of trying to do your own spin on a MOBA. Doesn't it seem like whatever.
But it's scary.
Like when
I think
it was
it's scary to use that term.
But when it was when every company was making a World of Warcraft clone, now everybody's making, and they're not making MOBA clones. But oh, that's loud. Oh, how do I turn this? Can I turn the sound off?
I don't know what he played.
Crap.
Welcome to your solar system. Centuries from now.
Oh, shut up, next story, Destiny, that I want to talk about because this thing is so awesome. Shut up, narrator.
There's lots to see and do out here on the frontier.
I know there's a lot to see, but I can't. Can I mute you?
Oh, I see you're unarmed. Good luck.
Oh, you went to the website, didn't you? I don't know.
Yeah, I was getting it ready because I wanted to show it off. It's the first story, but I want to turn. Oh wait, now
probably just in your system sound on your computer if you get to it.
All right. Now everybody knows the next story and my favorite thing.
Hey, guess what we're talking about next?
My favorite thing out of PAX. Yes, got him. Tuesday. It's almost here. Neither of you have PS4s. Are you getting completely jealous? Are you just like
I'm jealous?
Are you just like
the live action trailer? I'm not gonna lie, makes me a little jealous. I know that's not gameplay and it shouldn't translate to excitement for the game, but it does. That was freaking amazing.
I usually so my
end child labor
oh my
practices
god,
in the early 20th century.
Shut up, ad. Yeah, my favorite stuff out of PAX was definitely the Destiny stuff. I mean, I'm ready for this game. I am ready. We got a live action trailer.
Ready.
They teased it. We didn't know what was coming out. They teased it. Live action trailer. I usually do not like live action trailers. I usually think that it's very rare that one comes across as really like cool.
If anything, they usually feel out of touch with what the game actually ends up being.
Remember that Guild Wars 2 one?
Remember the awesome Eve ones?
The Eve ones weren't so bad. Wait, the Guild Wars 2 one was like, that's the one that they like buried. They like put that thing out and they just like buried it in a week. You couldn't even find it anymore. They were just like, oh my God, who wrote this off? Somebody probably got fired for that.
This is a terrible idea. Why would we do this?
That was, people wonder what it is. Go find it. It's got to be on YouTube. That was just sad. I don't know. I usually don't like them. I didn't like the SWTOR one. I usually like you said. I think it's really hard most of the time for like. I imagine that the budgets for the live action trailers on most games are a little bit less than normal. Coming from game companies, hopefully they're hiring a production company that actually knows how to make a commercial and not like a graphics animation company or something that just does some special effects and kind of. But they're usually like mediocre actors, kind of cheesy, mediocre dialogue, and it's just like it just never really comes together. And
C-rate actors.
Yeah, and I mean the Destiny one's actually interesting. I'm not gonna play it on here because damn you, YouTube. You hate when we play it. I'll play some visuals, but really, if you haven't seen it, you want to watch it with the sound because the dialogue that goes on is like 90% of it. I feel like
it feels like, I'm not trying to say we're copying Guardians of the Galaxy or that, but it's got a very Guardians of the Galaxy type vibe, doesn't it? Like it's a little lighthearted. It's a little not taking itself too seriously, but still badass all at the same time.
I think they're mimicking like the players though, in that sense. Like when you go in and you're gonna play Destiny, like you want to be kind of badass, but you're gonna have a fun and joke around with your friends at the same time. And so like it kind of mimics like that idea of like, you know what, throw yourself in here, have a good time, and be serious together. I mean, and I
think they nailed it, and that's a fine line. Like that's a scary line to go down with writing dialogue like that and delivering it properly, so it's not super cheesy. Because this could have gone really bad.
Yes,
and it's not. It's not. It is. It's lighthearted. There's a lot of sort of like almost like one action movie one-liner type things going on, and dare we not forget that they licensed Zeppelin.
I mean, Yeah, I mean, like you get to that point, you're thinking, oh, music, the old music, that's what made me think Guardians of the Galaxy. No, actually, the kind of Guardians of the Galaxy vibe hit me before that, and then the music hit, and I was like, oh, well, that just reiterates everything I just had running through my brain. And let me say this too, the Peter Dinklage voice acting, now that they've got a filter on it and kind of taken out some of those really, really bad
It's much better.
is much better in this. It comes across exactly how it was supposed to now with the filter and everything, and sort of in context. When it was no filter, out of context, I mean, we pooed all over it. I mean, everybody pooed all over it. It sounded terrible then. It's much better now. You know, good job, Peter Dinklage. You accomplished what you meant to do, and I'm sorry for ever doubting you.
My favorite part has to be that part with the sand turtle that he just played on the video for people who end up watching it. You're just like, does anybody know how to say hello to a sand turtle?
Yeah, I was almost just gonna hit on. I was gonna like let the music roll for a second, but then I remembered Twitch will probably shut our shit off for like 30 minutes. But cannot wait! Probably one of the obviously the most anticipated game, probably the most anticipated MMO of the year. It is an MMO. I don't care what people say. This is you can argue all day
we
long.
get comments every time we say that on this show about MMO, not MMO. People are, it's not an MMO. They can call it whatever they want to. At the end of the day, it comes across way more MMO than not.
And I think
here's the game that, you know, especially this crowd. This is our audience. I feel like is the perfect sort of like group of people who are always looking for something new and want some, like the MMO. They're chasing the MMO, right? And like this is something different. This isn't your hotbar, tab targeting. Like this is legitimately 100% something new to the genre. Yet I feel like a lot of people will still hate on it just because they'll just want WoW.
Well, they've got an aggressive release cycle, new expansion like every 2 to 3 months. So the first expansion's what, in November?
I'll take it.
Yeah,
I'm ready.
We talked about that last week. Then they've already announced the first 2, and like the game's not even out yet.
I think they're gonna do really well, especially in the console space. I think they're just gonna do great there on PS4.
What's really going to be interesting is post-launch. Post-launch is going to be very interesting to talk about on this show because I'm really curious to see, like, well, what is it when you hit max level or, you finish the storyline? Like, what are you going to do? And that's where I've said before, like, I don't know. Like, I probably – and that's why I think maybe for a lot of, like, the MMO fans is that we're all, I think, sort of prepping ourselves in anticipation that there won't, like, unless you're just going to do map PvP stuff, which you'll do, which is fun, it's not – possibly going to feel like this virtual world that you're going to live in, log in with, be with your friends, raid all the time, do this, do that. I don't know. Nobody really knows if that's there or not, I don't think.
And that'll probably be the point where it either really starts being compared to MMOs or ceases to be compared to MMOs whatsoever. Is if you get to the end and there's no world to live and exist in, then most people aren't going to consider that MMO whatsoever.
I think that's where they did well with going with the console market almost. Like, I can't. Not everyone in console. Some people play like one game a whole lot on console, especially when it comes to like a shooter or something like that. But as far as MMO scene on the console, besides it being Amazon existence, the console players play multiple games. They're not always playing the same game every single night for 10 hours a day, the exact same game. So I think it really lends itself to that slow burn for those players who are playing it and stuff, and they're not completing it all in the first week, like we would typically think an MMO player on PC would.
But isn't that okay? That's okay. We have something else. I love the variety of it, I don't know. I played beta and completely fell in love with what I got to play. Wasn't a whole lot. We don't know how much is there. I got to play. I played all the way to max level in beta. I loved every minute of it. I thought it was great. Guns felt great. Stories felt good. We talked about it on the show. There's a couple little things that I sort of was like, I looked a little sideways at, but nothing that made me I'm just super excited about this game. I would be trading in every console, every game, everything I could take to the pawn shop. I'd be doing anything right now. Go get me a PS4.
Man, Gary Gannon just said it officially on TWIMMO, ladies and gentlemen. Destiny is worth buying a PS4.
Again, hard to tell. But I'd say by going by beta, for me personally, not for everybody, but for me, this is maybe the second reason to buy a PS4. I say the first of us is to play The Last of Us again in HD. It's amazing. Looks unbelievable. But Destiny is probably the first. It's probably the first legitimate reason that I actually feel like I bought my PS4 on launch, and it's literally just collected dust. I barely played it until Last of Us came out, which I already played, but just wanted to play it again because it's so great.
I was going to say, stuff like the Last of Us Remastered and Destiny, there's some stuff coming out now and coming out down the pipeline that for the first time in a long time kind of gives me that little itch that I actually might be missing out on a little something because I don't own a console. It's been a long time since I felt like that. Even waiting a year for, or however long it was for Batman Arkham City, things like that. We eventually got them, and I didn't feel like I was missing anything. For the first time, I see things and announcements and hear things about games. I'm like, man, I could probably really get some time and some enjoyment out of a PS4 right now.
Now is the time. I mean, back when launch came out, it was more like, hey, do you just want to see the new shiny? But you grabbed Assassin's Creed, you grabbed that other crap shooter that they came out with, and then it just kind of sat there. Now you've actually got some stuff coming out. I mean, it's Q4. It's almost Christmas time. So this is like the first big release leading up to Christmas. It's funny, actually, all the big releases actually got pushed back, though. We got Dragon Age, Far Cry. What else is coming out? The Crew. There's a ton of great games coming out in the next couple of months. Destiny's the first one that kind of kicks it all off.
Shadow of Mordor, the end of this month. Yes.
You are psyched about that game, aren't you?
I've said it before, that could end up being the biggest train wreck of a piece of crap game ever, but I'm more than willing to jump aboard that train and ride it to the end because it looks spectacular. That game, man. If that game was console only, Daddy would probably have a console in the next week or two.
Oh, that game would make you get a console.
I wouldn't buy it just to play Shadow of Mordor, but with everything else we just talked about, and the Shadow of Mordor, if it was console exclusive, that would push me over the edge. That would
PS4,
finalize
though,
it, and I'd make a run to Best Buy and have a PS4 and 2 or 3 games, and Shadow of Mordor would be one of them.
Shadow of Mordor is PS4, though, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's on console. It's a PS4.
Just convince yourself that your PC can't handle it. You're just gonna have to get a PS4. Yeah. Probably gonna have bad frame rates. All right, I'll just go get a PS4.
Let me convince my wife that my PC can't handle it. Let's try that. Oh, honey, I need a console because my PC can't play this game.
What about that? What about that $1,000 you put in that thing and that $300 you spent on a video card?
I can just hear it now. Yeah. I'd be better off just trying to sneak by it and just like buy it and pretend it wasn't me. I'm like, I don't know where that charge came from.
What do you guys think?
You might want to look into that.
First,
ignore this console hooked up to the TV.
Come Tuesday, what's I don't know if we can even do an over under, but since we're talking about betting, do you think Destiny can hit number 1 on the Twitch charts? Will it beat the League of Legends?
Oh,
what do
man.
they have going on?
Is there anything championship-wise going on with League of Legends next week? Because that would be a determining factor in that. Because that pulls in ungodly numbers if there's actually like championship, like qualifiers and stuff like that happening. I don't think anything can touch League of Legends when they've got stuff like that going on.
No. Well, barring that there's anything like that, if there's no LCS craziness, there's going to be 200,000 people watching League of Legends if it's a normal week for League. Do you think Destiny hits number 1?
I don't see why not. The Sims 4 when it launched, it was like what was it? It was like second. Therefore, I don't know if it ever hit
number 1 because I didn't see it at number 1.
Yeah, I never saw it at number 1, but I saw it like ahead of everything except League of Legends for at least a little while on launch night. And of course, Tally was streaming it for a while. I'm sure that had a lot to do with it. But if that can be on up there like that, Destiny on a console. I can see just thousands of people streaming that and probably hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions watching that, across all the channels. Probably not one channel because that guy would be rich.
I don't stream much. I should probably stream. I'm just going to lock myself. I'm just locking myself in on Tuesday. This thing comes out. I don't know what time it goes live. I have streamed on the PS4. I streamed some Destiny beta on the PS4. But I'm locking in, so I don't know what time it launches.
Yeah, I mean, this has been like one of the games you just talked about. Yeah, you ought to stream it. People will probably like to watch you play it.
They don't want to watch me play a game. Stupid.
And let you hit that brick wall where you realize it's not an MMO and you are wrong about everything in your entire life.
Deal with the chat room. Bunch of complainers and whiners. This old man playing his Destiny games.
I'm gonna kick your ass.
All right, last thing before we got to move on. Man, we just started the show. I thought the show was short. It's like we're like 40 minutes in. We haven't even started the show yet. Sorry, Republic guys. It's gonna be a little bit late today. I think this was super cool. Destiny launched a website called DestinyPlanetView.com, and it's built with the Google Maps technology. And this is super cool. Like you come here and there's like a voiceover thing, and then you can actually go and explore the different planets like you do with Google Street Views. Let's check out Mars here. I'll show you really quick. There's also voiceover. There's recordings in here. I'm not gonna play them, but it's pretty neat. I like that they're doing this kind of stuff. Like they're doing like this, like, you know, sort of. So you get to like, you know, there's some voiceover going on right now, and you can pan this around and see what's going on. And so I don't even know what this picture does. I guess it brings up a screenshot of something. There's audio files. So we can move, like just like on Google here. You got a little arrow. And we can jump down over here and go to the next one.
So what I like about this Street View. Obviously, if people don't know how Google does a Street View, they have like people who are paid to go around, drive on the streets, and take pictures. So this means somebody drove by in like a dune buggy or something like that during the middle of a firefight and decided they're going to drive right through the middle of it and take pictures.
Yeah, it's a virtual camera, it's like Google car driving through Venus.
Like, hey, I know you all are shooting at each other, and I know they're flying right by here, but I'm going to drive right on by and get paid by Google.
I wonder when they did this. You think they did this through the beta period? Because you're right, they had to capture all this stuff. Like these are obviously players playing in the middle of a firefight. Like when you're in Google Street View, you see people walking down the street. It's kind of the same idea. So, yes,
it's not representative of the actual game gameplay when it first loads up. So I'm not sure how much of it is something like if this is actually a map in the game that you will directly see this exact experience or not.
Or they sort of set up some of these to look like something's happening.
Still pretty cool. I don't know. Whatever it is, I think it's still pretty cool. And it got me.
Yeah, either way, it's fun to get in and just kind of roam around. And just like Google Maps, sometimes it's just fun to get in Google Maps because you never know what you're going to see in Google Maps.
That's what I was going to say is I haven't found any yet, but I have to imagine that there's got to be some Easter eggs floating around.
Oh, yeah. There's no way they did this, and there's not Easter
stuff.
eggs in there somewhere.
Gotta be. Like, I would imagine that's what it's for, partly, that they know people are just going to dissect, like, every image they could possibly find and look for everything. There's got to be some stuff in here. I'd be so surprised if there's not. Well, check it out. DestinyPlanetView.com. Destiny launches this Tuesday. I'm going to have no life after that. Probably have to get divorced.
Another show from Gary Gannon's house coming up, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh yeah, I can't get to the studio, guys.
I'm sorry, there was a wreck or something. Meanwhile, let's show this Destiny gameplay while we talk.
I got no clean boxers. I soiled myself. I eat pizzas. Just gonna play Destiny for the rest of my life. I'm done. It's over with. All right, let's move on. WildStar. So the news out of PAX is that WildStar mega servers are coming. So what are mega servers? For people who do not know, what is the mega server?
It's one big server.
It's
that idea of, it's obviously not one server. Hello guys, we're just running the whole game on one server. It's super big. No, it's obviously just sort of taking all those individual servers and connecting them all so everyone's connected in one area as opposed to being split between all these different shards. So instead of 20 different shards, all these shards are now interconnected as one server in and of itself. And more specifically, it's going to be one PvE server and one PvP server for each region. But the basic idea is that, hey, instead of you all being split up between all the servers, now everyone plays together and most likely is split up between 50 instances in each zone or however many needs to be made to maintain everybody. But hey, there's no downside to this unless it breaks the game.
No, this I've been saying for years. I feel like mega servers, however they're doing this now that we're finally getting to the technology where they can actually make it happen. This This is the best thing for MMOs that's ever happened to MMOs, because MMOs are all
Yeah,
about
I can't
the
believe
social
they launched with
component.
individual servers.
Must have not really been ready. I don't know.
Sidewinder in chat says, so they used Guild Wars 2 style servers. And I thought that's what they were going to do at first, because obviously they're NCSoft. But no, they aren't using the Guild Wars 2 tech for this system. They are literally going to merge all the servers into one big server now, as opposed to the Guild Wars 2 style. Everyone still has your individual servers, but they've made all the instances for each zone kind of merge players together. And this is the opposite. Like, you are literally, right now, they're setting it up. You're going to be able to choose a last name to get rid of conflicts in that situation. And then eventually they're going to take all the servers, and all the PvE servers are going to become the one PvE server, and guilds will be transferred over. And if your guild name conflicts, whoever has the oldest guild, their name will stick, and you'll have a way to change your guild name at a later point and things. But yeah, so it's all going to become actually literally one server, as opposed to the Guild Wars 2 style of keeping them separated but merging.
This is a win-win. This is a win-win for all around, except for us, because we can't ever do the WildStar server closures story.
Well, a lot of people want to try to spin this like that, like, oh, this is their fancy way of shutting down servers and doing server mergers, and they're trying to spin it. You know, whether it is or whether it isn't, it's fine, but just like Gary said, this is the way it should be from now on. Every game should launch like this. Make the technology happen. It's 2014. There are games out there already doing it, at least in some form. This mega server thing is better for the player.
Yep.
Period. Forget whether there's merging servers and the population is this and that. And
there's nothing worse. There's nothing worse when you really still like an MMO, even if you don't play it like hardcore. There's nothing worse than it dying to the point that your server is just dead and you've got no one to play with, but you still kind of like the game. And you know what? You don't need that many people running around the world for it to actually feel like it's actually like a fun game. You need a couple hundred people, maybe 1,000 people, maybe 2,000 people if you're lucky. One compact them all together. You're always going to have a full server. It's always going to be packed.
Yeah, I mean, this especially helps in terms for part of their in-game content that outside of raids and stuff is their they call it like their post-cap events. They've got all these level 50 events that are going on out there that they created a kind of a focus around, but because of the server population slightly being lower than what it was before, there's like never enough people to fill in 20 people you needed on both sides or something like that to complete an event all the time. This will help with that. This will make those zones full again, make those events happening, and actually you can jump in and complete them and enjoy it just a lot more. I mean, there's no reason to complain.
We were just talking about Destiny. You play an MMO because you want to exist and play in a world. You want to have a character that lives in this world. Stop complaining when these companies do things to make it feel like a giant bustling world. That's what they're doing. This is a good thing.
You just got shut down. Refrigerator just shut you down.
And so right now, for anybody who's actually still playing the game or might jump back in now that this is coming out, server transfers are completely free.
Oh, yeah, that's
at
a good
this
point. Yeah.
So all server transfers are free right now so that you can go ahead, and if you find a group you want to play with but you couldn't play with them because they're on this server or you wanted to switch servers and try it, switch now. And then
free.
when the merge comes, you'll just be pulled in like everybody else. So.
And also, if you're on a PvE or a PvP server, you might want to choose now which one you're going to be on, because once they implement this technology, whichever one you're on now, boom, that's the one you're on, the big PvP server or the big PvE server. And they've already said there will be no transfers after this technology goes live. So choose the server you know you definitely want to play on. Do it now and do it for free.
Choose wisely. Choose very, very wisely. Game Breaker Nation. If you guys haven't joined the Game Breaker Nation, go to GameBreakerNation.com. They're on the Arias server, PvE, the P versus E server. So I assume everyone is staying PvE.
Yeah, they're going to be staying on the PvE side of it. And what's really cool is they're starting up raiding now. So for anybody interested in Game Breaker Nation, yeah, join them now. Free server transfer. Bring your character over to Arias. Jump up with them. They're starting raiding. They're getting into it. Another guild just merged into them. I think there's another one coming soon. So they've actually doubled in size pretty much. So they are ready to go now and get your WildStar back on.
Oh, really? They're merging with all kinds of guilds. Gigantic. Yeah, get over there. Araya server. Switch now while it's free. Get your guild, get your WildStar on. All right, we got a lot more show. Holy crap. A lot of stuff going on. It's like, what's that story too? We got lots to talk about. Let me take a quick second. We got to talk about our sponsors. We love our sponsors here on the This Week in MMO. We couldn't do the show without them. This week's sponsor, World of Tanks. It's another free-to-play MMO with the perfect cash out model. Not pay to win. Completely not pay to win. If you guys checked it out a long time ago, cash out majorly changed. Majorly changed. Check it out right now. Go to gboffer.com/tanks. That is the URL you're going to want to use. Sign up today. Check it. I don't know if you guys have seen the graphics on World. Look at the detail. They've upped the engine on this thing like a couple times now. And
there's been like numerous updates on the graphics engine at this point.
Yeah, and this is all in preparation for even more that's coming. Some of this stuff is not out there. Have they talked about the physics stuff yet? I feel like they've told me about it at conferences, and I can't remember if they're talking about that. I believe they have. The physics engine stuff. Anybody? Does that ring a bell?
I think I remember hearing something about it, but I don't remember a ton of details.
All right, hopefully I'm allowed to talk about it.
You telling me or not?
Hopefully I'm supposed to talk about that. I don't remember if I am, but it's awesome because they're building in the physics technology into the game with the engine, and that's what some of the latest implementations of the graphic updates and the engine updates and things like that have been in preparation for. So that still hasn't launched yet, but it's coming. So they've just updated a ton of stuff. I mean, this game, it's just this is another one. This thing is always loaded on my desktop. Always. Never goes away. It's just great. Go in, jump in, hit a couple maps. There's no downtime. If your tank gets blown up, you can wait to stay on the same map, if you want to like play with the same group of people. But if not, you just go grab another tank, go play on another map. You can do whatever you want. 9.0 update was kick-ass. Check it out today. Go to gboffer.com/tanks. Sign up. It is completely free to play. Do not have to spend a penny. 0. Highly recommended. Love that game. All right, let's talk about, we talked a little bit about the Tryon. Let's talk a little bit more about Tryon. We got the big ArcheAge coming. That is XL Games and Tryon. Tryon's bringing it out here. So they got their official release date at PAX. They announced September 16th is the official date of the ArcheAge coming out, which is very PvP-centric. MMORPG.
Coming very soon. That's right around the corner too.
Yeah, really right around the corner. And Troy, let me start with you because you were like, this wasn't fully on your radar, and then you got to try it, and then you were just like flipping out, being like, I gotta get beta. Give me beta. Give me key. I gotta play this game. I'm kind of freaking out, man. I want to play this game.
Yeah, I mean, initially when they first started releasing some PR stuff on it, I was like, ooh, this is really pretty. I would really like to play it. And then beta keys started coming out, and I was like, ooh, beta, gimme, because it looks really, you think sandbox, you're like you just start imagining all the things you're going to do when you get into the sandbox. So I got into the persistent alpha for a little while, and I kind of lost interest in it. It was way more theme parky in the beginning than I was expecting. There was a lot of going from Quest Hub A to Quest Hub B, and yeah, it was teaching me the game, but this just wasn't the experience that I was expecting.
And
so I kind of set it aside for a little
while. We talked about it on the show, and you were asking me because I was loving it. I was playing it at the time, and I fell in love with it. And you were just like, "What's going on? Am I missing something? Should I just go do stuff? I don't know what to do, but I'm just doing quests." And you were kind of lost. And then what happened? What changed for you?
Essentially, I had to realize I gave up on it way too soon, because that part where you really kind of have to do the quest and learn the game and get a few items like your very first arm stuff in there actually isn't that long. It wasn't what I was expecting, so I turned it off way too soon. Secondly, after I got through all that and the closed beta started happening, and some of my friends, and of course this is an MMO, it's always more fun with friends. Some of my friends started getting beta codes and stuff like that, and all of a sudden, I'm on a frigate in the middle of the ocean chasing down the Kraken at level 15 for 4 hours, and I'm like, this game is amazing. I found the fun in ArcheAge. It's out there. It's kind of like, I love ESO. People know I love ESO. You can talk crap on it all you want to, but a lot of the complaints of ESO were the starting experience wasn't really indicative of what the game actually ended up being. For me, ArcheAge is kind of the same deal. I had to realize that and make myself suck it up and move past that to acknowledge the fact that I see all these other people having fun with this game. There's no way this little envelope that I'm living in right now of Quest Hub A and B is what this game is. Suck it up, man up, and run through this and go find the fun. And man, I did. We were in a frigate. The Kraken destroyed the frigate. We went back in a rowboat. In a rowboat all the way back out to the Kraken just so he could kill us again because it was amazing.
Just to take it again because it was so amazing.
Just to do it again.
JKK, what's your interest in ArcheAge?
My interest is actually in the sea portion of it. Like if I'm gonna play it, I want to just get into the sea and be a freaking pirate to people. Get our ships, steal people's ships, and start taking down people that way. It's PvP all the way. I gotta kill people, destroy them, steal from them, take whatever I can, or things like that. I mean, that's my interest in it.
I straight up tried to steal a dude's ship. We were like, when you die out in the ocean, there's like these little islands you spawn on, and one dude had his frigate summoned out in the sea, and he was like, I don't know what he was doing, talking to an NPC or something, and his boat was just sitting there, and I was like, it's mine now. And I jumped on it, man. I started going just as fast as I could, but I couldn't get out of range quick enough, and he just unsummoned it out from under me. Man, I tried my best to steal that dude's boat. I was going to take it to the Kraken and let the Kraken blow his boat up, too. We were just trying to kill everybody's boat. But yeah, I tried my best to steal that dude's boat, but if you're within a certain range, he can still unsummon it, and it got unsummoned, and I was just swimming out in the ocean then, and I was like, oh.
So Troy, what would you suggest? So there might be a lot of people out there who like want to try it or are going to try it, and maybe might fall into the same sort of place that you did initially, where you kind of got a little bit sort of like a little bit confused, scratching your head, trying to wonder exactly like what to do when, people say just get off the beaten path. You don't have to do the quest if you don't want to, but it's confusing for a lot of people. So I don't know. What would be your advice to people who actually give it a go, who want to sort of experience as quickly as possible the fun?
I would definitely recommend, as much as those quests aren't what you signed up for this game for, they are very much teaching you how to go out in the world and have the fun. They're teaching you about farms and how to plant things without getting them stolen, and be able to pay your taxes and things like that. Just treat the first, I don't know, 45 minutes to an hour of questing as a tutorial. You're learning how the game sort of functions. At that point, I was level, I don't know, somewhere between 15 and 20, depending on which character it was and how many friends we had running around. I basically got to the point where the quest didn't say, hey, you can just go do sandboxy stuff now. But I kind of got to the point where I realized if I want to keep questing, I can. But I've got like this farm I can go plop down somewhere and plant some things, or I've just got taught how to carry, trade packs and stuff and build things and cut lumber and all this. I know all this now. So you kind of reach this point where it doesn't just like, there's not an off-ramp to the sandboxes, which is part of my initial turnoff was that's what I was looking for, was like
you were looking for the signage that sort of said, okay, yeah, Troy, now you can go do what you want to do.
This way. That doesn't really happen, but you do get to a point where your knowledge hits a point, like I said, pretty early on, where you're just like, I know how to do all this stuff. Let's just go try to do whatever it is you think you want to do.
What level was that? Because I'm trying to remember, and I feel like I was maybe like a level 12-ish, 13-ish when I started feeling like that, is what I remember, right? After you get the farm,
like I said, for me, it was the mid-teens is usually when I got to the point where I'm like, yeah, I can go do whatever I want to now.
So there's the tip, the advice for the ArcheAge. Definitely do those starter quests, though, because some of the things that they give you up until that point, like you said, your farm, I don't know if there's any other way to get your farm. I think you have to do the quest line to get your farm, and I think there's
they give you a little
sizes.
8x8 freebie farm just from doing a quest. Your mount, you get your first mount through questing, and you have to grow that thing, which is just a matter of doing, spending 5 minutes sitting there doing it. But you get a mount, you get a farm, you actually get your first little rowboat through a quest too.
You get your boat as well. Did you get to the point where you realized you could go and find people who plant things and trees and stuff outside of their farm, and that you could go steal all their shit and chop them down?
One of my buddies had all of his stuff stolen. Because you have to be a patron to own property to have a farm. So he tried to find himself a nice little hidden spot somewhere to plant all his things. And he made the mistake of telling one of our other friends, like, hey, there's this cool little spot. So our other buddy goes over to the spot, plants and stuff, then jumps off the cliff into the middle of a pack of players who just look up and go,
oh, that must be a spot.
Planting things up there, are you? Good luck with that. We'll be there in 30 minutes when that stuff's ready to tear down.
I spent hours. I spent hours just traversing the hill lines of just the weirdest, most like offbeat path places because that's where people are gonna go and like hide their stuff. Because people
think they're slick and they're gonna stick their whatever they're trying to grow back there.
Hey, that's where you're gonna grow stuff, and I just would go through there and chop that shit down, and packing up that wood. It's pretty awesome. You leave footprints on the ground, and people can find you, and you could get. You can go to jail.
Yeah, you
Check
it
out.
You get put on trial. It's a jail.
Yeah. There's so much to there's so much to this game. Yeah.
Everything.
What this makes me think of is I feel like they should have some kind of like be able to do some kind of smuggling ring. Like you can grow a certain plant that boosts up your power. You can have rings of people who do this, and then they can sell it. But you get caught with it, you go to jail. That's what they should do.
Take Troy's advice.
ArcheAge, the drug trafficking simulator.
Hey, why not Rock Simulator? Take Troy's advice though. Play it up to a certain point, but at some point, don't be waiting for the sandbox this way signage to tell you to go off the beaten path. Like if you feel the need to go off the beaten path, just go off the beaten path and just start doing your thing because you don't have to just keep questing. So yes, September 16th, which is like a week or two from now. Right around the corner. Founders start on the 12th, and open beta. The open beta is
starts
the 4th through today. The 4th through the 8th. So open beta started today.
Yeah. So if you want to try it, download it now.
There you go. Check it out. So ArcheAge. Tell you about this. The International Game Developers Association are working with the FBI to combat harassment online. This comes on the heels of the stuff we talked about, I think, like last week with John Smedley and his plane being diverted and landed and the swatting that went on and all that kind of stuff. So what's going on here? They had a preliminary meeting in July before even some of this stuff happened, correct?
Yeah, they had an initial meeting where I think they were just discussing it and stuff, and FBI was letting people know everything that they do, and like we were already looking at stuff, but we're mostly focused on the extreme threats and things like that. But with the recent stuff that's happened, it's brought it back up, and I think now it's just like it's almost become like a bigger thing. And the International Game Developers Association released a sort of thing out to the media now, asking for the support of the community to actually focus on combating this harassment even more along with them. So something's going to change. I don't know what's going to change, but I hope the politicians aren't making the changes for us to.
We'll see. Well, and here's my 2 cents on this thing. This will be my do-gooder moment for the community to get behind this, which I am behind it. But for anything, for what it's worth, I would tell everybody out there, if you're a smartass and you're thinking about doing something kind of stupid, even if you think it's kind of silly and juvenile, I would say this is not the time to do it. Because someone is going to get caught in the crossfire somewhere with all of this happening, and it's probably going to be somebody who doesn't do something all that crazy insane. Like they're not going to do something like completely off the wall. It's going to be somebody who it's like the kid who gets picked up and like, goes to jail for like, 40 years for like, a $5 bag of weed. It's gonna be like that kid. You know what I mean?
They're going to make an example.
They're going to make an example out of somebody, and someone who really doesn't deserve it is going to get nailed probably. So I don't know. I would just be steering away from stupid, just ridiculousness on the internet of causing any kind of craziness.
I mean, some of these actions right now, if you did these similar things and outside the internet, that's a huge federal offense, and it follows that same line. I mean, the bombing text message, the bombing tweet or whatever on John Smedley's plane is basically the same thing as screaming fire in a area that doesn't have it and causing a panic.
Oh, that's an act of terrorism. I mean, that's your if they catch you doing that, that's an act of terrorism. You are going to jail for a very long time. Like if you do something as stupid as that. So, like I said, Hopefully none of you out there watching this show, you're all great people and you would never do anything like this. But even this stupid thing, because I'm afraid, like, because I said even last week, like, I was afraid, like, at some point, something really bad is going to happen. Like, somebody's going to get killed, person, animal, swatting, like this, that. But even on the other side, even the other thing you got to think about is, like, somebody's going to get nailed for just being dumb. Like, it's just going to be something stupid, and they're going to get nailed, and they're going to be in some state, and some politician's going to get behind it and make a name for himself, and they're going to nail you to the wall, and they're just going to make such a big political mess about it that you're going to go to jail for, like, something really freaking stupid. And that's
I think you're only hurting what you want in the internet. Like, if your reason for doing this is you think you're all anonymous or whatever, which we know you're not. But if you think that's sort of your reason behind it, and like you enjoy that freedom on the internet, well, all these things these people are doing are giving those politicians who don't have a clue or understand how the internet work, giving them just so much fire just to throw back at us and bring down what we know as the internet as it is now. Like, they're really not helping any situation here. They are gonna hurt just the general freedoms on the internet to begin with.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people realize how hard a lot of the community is fighting right now to keep the internet as it is, free and unbiased, and you can do what you want and say what you want. There are people fighting tooth and nail for that every day, and when you do dumb shit like this, you're, like Justin said, that's just the exact opposite of everything we're trying to make the internet be. Good job.
We're trying to make the internet a good place. Sorry, I'll still hang out on 4chan. The place is just awful. Such a mess. It's great.
Do it. Gary Ganless, 4chan.
I'm gonna skip that story. Oh, we have another sponsor this week. Gotta talk about another sponsor. Long-time sponsor. Love the Audible. Love it, love it, love it. Listening to it the other night.
So much of my money.
I got a new book from them, but it's not something that anybody here would be that interested in, but it's great. That's why I love Audible. Listening to the psychology of music. It's really interesting. It's like the neuroscience of music and how it affects the brain. It's good stuff. Anyway. Check it out. Want to hook you up with a free 30-day trial and a free audiobook just by going to the URL audible.com/gamebreaker. That's the URL you're going to want to use. Just go there, sign up, make an account, and you get the service absolutely free for 30 days and a free audiobook. And look what was just released. New Star Wars book. Let's take a quick listen.
The sandy-haired Jedi Master touched the panel again. "It's just in test mode now," Obi-Wan said. "No one will respond. But were there a true emergency, Jedi could receive the message in several ways." He glanced down at his listeners. "There is the basic alert signal, and then there are other components in which you might find more detailed text and holographic messages. No matter the format, the basic purpose should be clear." "Go home!" the collected students shouted. Obi-Wan nodded. Then he saw it.
Clocking in at 12 hours, 43 minutes. This one was just released, I think it's a couple days ago, actually. Brand new one. Star Wars: A New Dawn. I think I'm going to pick up that one next. Check it out. You can get it absolutely free just by going to audible.com/gamebreaker. Like I said, just sign up, make an account. You download the app, you put it on your iPhone, your Android device, your Kindle, whatever you got, whatever sort of handheld device you got there. They've got an app for it. You download it, get the audiobook on your device, and you're off to go.
Audible has consumed my life.
Has it really?
No, not consumed my life. They consumed my driving time. 26 books this year.
Wow. That's the best time for it. Isn't driving's like the best time for it?
I purposely go out at night to drive around just to listen to the book sometimes. Because I'm like, I want the next part of the story. I'll just fucking go driving. I got it hooked up to my car, placed in my speakers while I'm driving around.
I love Audible.
It's good though.
I listen to them when I lay in bed at night trying to go to sleep. I always listen to an audiobook. I'm listening to Ready Player One right now.
Oh, that's such a good one.
Really good one.
That's one that our audience would love too. Ready Player One. Check that one out if you haven't checked it out.
Yep.
That is a winner. All right. Next up, really quick, Troy, what's going on with your Elder Scrolls Online layoffs? Dead? Game's over?
Every MMO ever does
Game's
the same
dead
thing.
and over.
It's dead. It's dead. They fired everybody. It's not happening ever again. It's gone. I mean, seriously, at what point do we stop saying this game is dying because they laid off some folks? They had a development team. They no longer need that full development team. You know, I don't want to say the broad stroke of every game ever, but pretty much every game ever MMO that comes out after a certain development cycle, they've launched for a little while. Some games do it a little sooner. Some games take a little longer. Just like the server mergers, your peak audience is always at launch. Almost every game except World of Warcraft, which we've talked about over and over, is the exception to this genre, not the rule. It's not the measuring stick. It's the big baby out there who's different than everybody else. But every game has layoffs. Every game does server mergers. Doesn't mean the game's dying. Doesn't mean nobody's playing the game. I play several times a week, and it still looks pretty full to me.
You know what I think it is, Troy, though? I think they let people go from the PC dev team so they can hire more people for the console version now. So
Zing!
Zing! They do something if they're really going to bring that console version out. I'm beginning to wonder. I don't care if it ever does come out, but I'm starting to be like, well, is this really going to happen or what?
They haven't said anything on it, have they?
I was going to say, how many episodes ago did I kind of throw that out there?
I was going to say, the last I heard was been a couple of months. Maybe they said, well, it's still coming.
I don't know. It's gotten mighty quiet. Hey, I wouldn't look at it as a failure if they don't put it out. I mean, I never really thought I never saw the game doing extremely well on the PS4. So if they were to come out tomorrow and say, hey, you know what, we're just going to focus on the PC game and making it the best it can possibly be, and we're just going to put the PS4 off for now.
I think we'll see we'll see the next single-player Elder Scrolls game come out and just let it silence all the talk on SO console from there, I think.
Yeah, then they'll just never bring it up again. Oh, by the way, here's this new Elder Scrolls game. Have this. But no, I mean, you say Elder Scrolls and you initially think, well, that's a good title for, to put something like that on the console. But then when you actually play the game, it's so standard MMO-ish. I mean, I'm not saying that's a knock, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's not Skyrim multiplayer. It's an MMO, a lot like how we PC players think of MMOs. So, it wouldn't surprise me if it ended up not actually translating that well to the console to begin with. Now, as far as the control scheme and everything, the way it's set up, the controls would be fine for a controller, but it just, that type of gameplay just is maybe, I don't know, as not a console gamer, maybe not what console gamers are really looking for, and maybe that's why it's not such a priority for them, or at least it feels like it's not a priority for them.
Yeah, I mean, even like you said, even if the controller felt completely at home and they came up with a great, control scheme for the game, which I imagine that they would have thought that through, I still could not wrap my head around like how they were going to convince enough players on the PS4 to pay a subscription fee. That was the
there's that on top of everything else.
I don't know how they were going to do that. I don't know, just kind of a tough uphill battle right there. I don't know, but you're still in it. You're still loving it.
Yeah, I'm leveling all some stuff right now because I'm waiting for the VR changes. We're still waiting on the veteran rank changes to come in for me to finish getting all the way up to the very, what is it, VR 12 now. I think it's going to be, 15 when the next update comes or whatever. But I'm stuck at around level 5, and I could very well go back and go ahead and level through, but it's just such a grind right now that it's not worth it. But I'm still having fun. I'm going back and playing like a little kitty cat Templar, and I got myself a little mage rolling around. So I'm still having fun in the game just because I'm not doing in-game stuff or trying to max out my my VR rank character right now. I'm still enjoying the game. It's still the dungeon content, like the group content, the 4-player dungeons that you go in and do, is still some of the most fun instance content I've ever played in an MMO. Their instance content's incredible.
Check it out. Follow Troy Blackburn on the Twitter at Noobfridge, NOBFRIDGE. And, of course, check out all his work right on GameBreaker.tv. All right, man. Get back to your football kickoff or whatever you're doing.
Football time!
Ice skating or whatever you're doing. JK Kennedy, follow up at JK Kennedy TV on the Twitter. And, of course, right here on TWIMMO as well. He's not going to go watch football, but he's got something better to do. I don't know what it is, but it's something. You can follow me at Gary Gannon. Follow GameBreaker TV. Republic is back. The Republic is back. For all of you, the Republic is back. Star Wars: The Republic should not go away for too long. It is back in a new format with Mr. Larry Everett. It's coming up live right after this, so hang out. We'll see you next week.